Hey everybody, it's Dr. Kevin with Balance and Body Restoration, and in today's video I want to break down for you 3 of our favorite upper body stretches and exercises that will help you reverse a lot of the problems that may be developing if you are someone who is spending a lot of time sitting or working in front of a computer screen, or who are someone who is just developing a lot of pain or a lot of tightness, especially within the muscles of your neck and your shoulder, right? Now, these are 3 of our favorite exercises that we routinely prescribe to a lot of our patients who are usually struggling with very similar issues. And we know that these exercises just provide a lot of results for our patients. And I hope that these exercises help you all out there as well. All right, so the first stretch I want to show you is an exercise known as backward bends over a foam roller. And this is probably my favorite exercise because I think that this is one of the most effective ways and also fastest ways to help you reverse and undo a lot of the problems that may be developing within your upper back just due to long hours of sitting. Okay. Now, what's going to happen for a lot of people when they are spending a lot of time just kind of sitting or working in front of a computer screen is that the vertebrae of their spine within their mid to upper back, known as the thoracic spine, are going to start to get stuck in this forward bend position known as hyperkyphosis. Okay. Now, the thing is, a lot of our patients just are not aware of how stiff or how tight this part of their back has actually become, and it's only until we teach them how to, stretch and release some of the tightness that they actually start to, notice how tight or how restricted they actually are. Okay, so the best way to accomplish this is again by using this foam roller, and I would recommend if you are someone who really wants to, reverse and fix a lot of these things, just invest in this foam roller. It's about $15 on Amazon. Really cheap, but also really effective and also long lasting as well. All right, and what I'm going to do is just to start by laying on the roller crossways like so, and just starting by just kind of massaging and just kind of rolling my back up and down the roller, just to start to kind of warm up some of those muscles in my mid to upper back, and just to get some circulation, just to break up some of the tension that you may be experiencing, okay? Now, the first thing that I want to do is to just kind of park the roller right in the middle part of my mid to upper back, just kind of right between my shoulder blades, and then I want to try to bend my head backwards over the roller and essentially try to touch my head all the way towards the floor, like so. Okay, now if you are able to touch your head to the floor, this is a good sign that you actually have good range of motion of those vertebrae, okay? But for a lot of people that, especially those who have not stretched their backs in a while, or who also spend a lot of time in that forward bend position, as they bend backwards, what's going to happen is they're going to get stuck, sometimes about halfway down or about 2/3 of the way down, and you might start to feel a lot of tension or tightness or just a lot of discomfort within, the joints right between your shoulder blades. And if that's happening to you, that's completely fine. That's what we expect, and that's why we're doing this stretch, okay? So if you're doing this, if you start to get stuck, then just stay right there and just take a couple of nice deep breaths in. And as you exhale, just let gravity just kind of just gently pull your head and your neck down just a little further. Just like so. All right, it's really important that you learn how to just kind of relax into the stretch. You don't want to force anything. You don't want to create a lot of exertion. You don't want to create a lot of force, especially if this is the first time you're doing so. Just try to just kind of take your time. Just use your breathing just to kind of guide you through the stretch. And just work through things just very slowly and very gently, right? And the progress will happen over time. Don't expect all of these changes to happen all at once. But I guarantee if you learn the form, if you learn the technique, and just learned how to relax into the stretch, that sometimes within just a couple of days, you will start to notice a significant improvement in your overall mobility and just a lot of release and relief from the tension of those muscles that sit on the top of your shoulder, and just an overall improvement to your posture as well, okay? So after you've done that middle section, I also recommend that you also move the roller just slightly up your spine just to work on the first 4 vertebrae of your upper back, right, like so. Because there are about 12 vertebrae of the thoracic spine that we want to address within the stretch, and just perform the same thing a little bit higher up. Just taking a couple of nice deep breaths in, and I'm gonna exhale, just kind of just settle into a deeper stretch, like so, with the goal of eventually trying to touch your head all the way towards the floor. But again, if you're not able to accomplish that on the first day, that's completely fine. Just try to make steady progress over time. That's all we're trying to look for. Right, let's just repeat one more time in this upper region. and come back down. All right, and let's repeat one more time just below the first segment that we started with, like so, right? And just kind of hit those lower thoracic vertebrae, okay? And then repeat the same thing. Just bend back as far as you can. If you start to feel some tension, if you start to get stuck, just stay right there. Take a couple of nice deep breaths in. And on your exhale, just go down into a slightly deeper stretch. All right, and as you start to stretch these lower segments, if you start to experience any type of sharp pain in your lower back or just feel a lot of pressure in your back that's just quite uncomfortable, that just might be a sign that you're a little bit too low. So just kind of move the roller up your back just a couple of segments and then repeat the same thing. And again, you should really feel a stretch that is isolated right around where the roller is, right in those vertebrae between that sits in your mid to upper back, okay? Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, like so. Okay, so that is it for our first stretch for your upper back to help reverse a lot of the problems that may develop from chronic or long-term sitting postures. All right, so the next stretch I want to show you is yet another stretch using this foam roller. Again, this is probably my favorite piece of equipment that just helps me stretch and release a lot of the problems that may develop within my upper body. All right, now this is a stretch known as the snow angel stretch, which we're going to be focusing on helping you learn how to lengthen and stretch out the muscles that sit within the front of your chest, known as your pec muscles. All right, so the pec muscles are a set of muscles that get really short or really tight when your shoulders are in this kind of rounded shoulder position. So learning how to stretch and release a lot of the tightness that develops within the front will not only help you reverse a lot of these problems, but just also help you release a lot of tension that you may be feeling within your upper back as well, okay? So the snow angel stretch is quite simple, where I'm essentially just trying to just kind of touch my hands all the way down towards the floor, like so, and then just very slowly trying to glide my hands along the floor and eventually try to touch my hands all the way at the top. Again, essentially like I'm just trying to form a snow angel on this foam roller here, okay? And then from there, try to go all the way back down, like so. And this is just going to encourage a lot of stretching sensation within the muscles that sit in the front of your chest. And you also might start to get a lot of stretching within your arm, bicep, and elbow muscles as well. Right now, for a lot of people, especially if you're just starting off with the stretch, what might happen is, when you start to go all the way down, you might start to feel quite a bit of discomfort or quite a bit of stretching sensation right about here, right? And that is one of the first signs that you are quite tight within this muscle. So once you start to feel some discomfort, if you aren't able to get your hands all the way down, then similar to the first stretch, just kind of use your breathing to guide you down into a slightly deeper stretch like so. And on your exhale, just try to push a little further down. And again, just try to work towards trying to get the backs of your hands to touch all the way towards the floor, okay? And sometimes you might actually feel some type of tension, almost like a tingling, almost like a pinched nerve feeling all the way down your arm into your forearm. Again, that's okay initially. That's just a sign that you probably have a lot of restrictions within not just the pec muscle, but also within the muscles that extend all the way down the arm, which actually might be creating a little bit of nerve entrapment, okay? Now, if as you do the stretch, if the pain in your nerves just start to intensify, then I would back off a little bit and make sure that you're not pushing through any sort of extreme pain or discomfort. But I also believe that this is something that you should actively be trying to do and really learning how to use your breathing just to help you release some of that tension that you may be experiencing within those muscles. And eventually those sensations should start to go away the more you actually practice this, okay? Breathe in, breathe out, and then try to touch my hands all the way towards the floor, okay? Now, a similar thing might happen as you start to perform the snow angel stretch is that, when you start to move your arm into different angles, this is going to increase the level of stretch and increase the level of tension within those muscles in the front of your shoulder, okay? So it's very common for people as they start to go up that they're just going to face so much more tension. They're going to start to feel their arms just kind of like popping off the floor, okay? So if that's you, if that's happening to you, then just try to stay right there and just try to live at that point where you are feeling that tension, where you are starting to feel your hands starting to lift. And then from there, just practice what we did before by just taking a couple of nice deep breaths in. And on your exhale, just trying to push your hands a little further towards the ground. and eventually be able to touch your hands towards the ground like so. Okay. Now, the area we're going to experience the most amount of stretch is generally going to be right about 9 degrees and just above here. So if you start to feel a lot of that pain or a lot of that just kind of tightness or discomfort, then again, just try to learn how to just kind of stay along there and just to learn how to, again, relax into the tension and just try to work on this stretching over time. These muscles didn't get this tight, overnight. So it is going to take a little bit of time to essentially learn how to reverse and release that tension. But I guarantee you that it is worth it. Okay. So again, my hands are starting to touch, and just try to slowly work your way up a bit as well. And again, if you start to feel your arms starting to pop off the floor, just stay right there. Take a couple of deep breaths in. And as you exhale, just try to slowly push them a little bit further towards the floor like so, and eventually being able to complete that entire snow angel stretch. Okay, so that is it for stretch number 2, which is snow angel over, which is a snow angel stretch over the roller. And again, to help you stretch and open up a lot of the tension you may be experiencing within the muscles that sit in the front of your shoulder. All right, so this last exercise I want to show you is another very basic exercise that's very common and very popular, but I feel that a lot of people just don't do this exercise correctly. So I want to go over the finer points in terms of form and technique off of this exercise known as the cow pose. Okay, so the cow pose is a very basic spinal mobility exercise. But again, I think this is one of the easiest, simplest, but also most effective ways of helping you stretch and reverse a lot of the problems that may be developing within your upper back with long periods of sitting. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just start on my hands and my knees, with my hands sitting right underneath my shoulders and my knees sitting right underneath my hips. And all I'm trying to do is just to create a slight backward bending curvature across my mid to upper back like so, by just kind of dropping my chest and dropping my ribs. And at the very end of the stretch, just trying to lift my chest and just lift my head up just slightly, again, to really accentuate this backward bending curvature that is occurring across my mid to upper back like so. Okay, again, the reason why this stretch is so important is because of the fact that if you're spending a lot of time, again, hunched over, your spine is going to get stuck in this forward bent position. So learning how to reverse that curvature within your spine and restore all that kind of stiffness or all that stuck mobility is one of the most important things that you can do to just increase the overall mobility within your spine and just to kind of reset a lot of the problems that are going to develop within your upper body with long periods of sitting. Okay, so let's just demonstrate a couple more times just to go over the form and technique. So again, just trying to drop my chest and drop my ribs. And again, I really want to try to focus on feeling some level of motion and some level of stretch that is occurring within those vertebrae that sit right between my shoulder blades like so. Okay, and when you do this exercise correctly, you will start to feel some level of activation or just some level of even slight discomfort within that mid back area. And that is just a sign that you're learning how to engage and activate a lot of the tiny little muscles that sit between these vertebrae. Okay, and let's hold it for 3, 2, 1, and reset. Again, I'm really focusing on my upper back here, right? A very common mistake for people when they do this stretch is they'll sometimes dip and dump a lot of tension, a lot of pressure into the lower back just because they're so stiff in their mid to upper back and don't really know how to stretch that. So if you start to feel, pressure in your lower back, just try to back off a little bit and just trying to recenter your focus and your effort on trying to stretch your upper back like so, okay? And at the top here, just try to lift up your chest. And you want to keep your neck kind of relaxed. So you don't want to be really kind of forcing your neck up like so. Just make sure your neck is in a relaxed position. And also make sure that if you start to feel your shoulders starting to migrate upwards, to also keep your shoulders down away from your ears as well. Right? And again, really trying to emphasize the creation of a backward bending curvature across my mid to upper back. My shoulders are staying down. My chest is sticking up at the top. And hold there for 3, 2, 1, and relax. Okay, so that is it for our 3 favorite exercises to help you reverse a lot of the problems within your upper body if you are someone who spends a lot of time sitting. I hope that this helps. Leave a question or a comment below if you have any questions, and we hope to see you again next time. Take care and have a wonderful day.